CS, or creep score, is a number that refers to how many minions, monsters, or wards that you have slain in the game, and it tells a much bigger story that most people don't know about. When you're playing any genre of competitive game, KDA is usually the first stat that comes to mind. In FPS games, if you are 3, 7, and 1, you are objectively doing bad. However, in League of Legends, you can have the exact same KDA and still have a gold lead over the enemy and still be able to carry the game. And this is because of minions and towers. In the next few minutes, I'll be telling you tips and tricks on what I've been doing as a Challenger ADC to farm more and carry more games. But first, let's put this into perspective. The average player has 6.5 CS per minute compared to the average pro player, which is 8.5 CS per minute. To estimate, that is around 40 more gold per minute, just from minions alone. And at 10 minutes, that's 400 gold, which is enough to be a difference between having a full item or being stuck on components for an important fight. This gold is not just only 400 gold because it can snowball, so it's actually a lot more than that. I imagine that in your games you have experienced recalling and then only missing 50 to 100 gold to buy the item that you want, right? So contrary to popular belief and what all the videos on the internet say, climbing on ADC is not as hard as you think, especially if you're playing in a rank below master tier. There's a way to guarantee that you have an item lead against the enemy, which allows you to always outperform the enemy ADC. Doesn't that sound broken? In this video, I'll teach you exactly how to do that. But first, I want you to look at your OPGG match history right now, and check your average CS per minute. Is it higher than 7? Feel free to comment your average CS and rank below so you can come back to this video in the future to check your improvement. Because the simple concepts I'm about to tell you will pretty much guarantee that you improve as a player. So what's the difference between a pro player farming and the average player's farming? Are their farming mechanics just that much better? The truth is, farming has nothing to do with mechanics, but rather knowledge and decision making. Let's break this down. Here are 2 clips of one Korean pro player and one diamond level player farming the first 3 waves on the same champion. Can you tell which is which? Player number 1 walks into the minion wave and starts pressuring the enemies right away. He starts off by hitting the first melee minion, then he hits another melee minion, and he starts using his W to try and hit the enemies for free. In the process, he damages all the minions and ends up missing 1. He continues to farm, and he ends up getting 5 in the first wave. Starting in the second wave, he continues to CS, but the Leona flashes onto the Janna, so he starts to retaliate, using his W in the process and hurting all the CS. Now all the CS is low, and he ends up getting 1 and 2, but he misses a third one, because the minions were simply too low altogether. After the first 2 waves, he ends up getting 9 CS. Continues to W the wave, and Leona tries to engage onto the Janna, but nothing really happens. And this one, he's only focusing 1 minion, starts clicking W again after his Q, and he ends up getting the entire wave this time, so he ends with 15 CS. Similarly, player 2 also starts in the minion wave, but instead of pressuring the enemy, he uses his W right away to push. All the minions get low in the front, and he ends up only getting 2, just like player 1. After the enemy Sona walks up too far, Sivert takes advantage of the opportunity and lands multiple autos onto the enemy, with W bouncing on the minion wave to hit them. He also gets 5 in the first wave, and he ends up poking the enemies just like player number 1. He ends up getting 9 CS here and misses the 10th one because he hits the Sona, which honestly isn't really worth it. 1 auto is not worth the 21 gold that he loses. He walks the ward here for a potential gank, and walks directly back to lane. Uses Q doesn't really hit anything, and instantly presses W to spread HP, to spread damage on all the minions, and he ends up missing 1 because of that. And for the rest of this wave, he gets all of the minions, which ends up leading him to 15 minions in total, just as player 1. Can you guess which one is the pro player? If you guessed that the first one was a pro player, then you are right. It is one of the best ADCs in the world, World Champion HLE Viper. On the same champion Sivert, in Korean Challenger ELO, Viper only gets 15 CS after 3 waves, just like the Diamond player. If you're not seeing what I'm getting at, I'm simply trying to break the myth that pro players play perfectly and are much talented. At the end of the day, you saw how Viper missed CS. They are human too. If you farm 15 CS and Viper also farms 15 in the first 3 waves, you are both getting the same gold. The only difference is even if you and Viper start at the same starting point, eventually he'll turn that 15 into 100 in the time that it takes you to turn 15 into 70. So let me teach you how to close that gap so that you can reach those numbers too. Here are 5 things you need to focus on for instant improvement, and don't worry, these aren't hard concepts to grasp, and I'll explain them in the simplest way possible. First, the most common mistake I see ADC players make, as you saw in those 2 clips, is hitting different minions on the first wave. And by this I mean literally spreading damage for fun. This causes the minions to all get low at the same time, making it more likely for you to miss 1 or 2, because you have to choose between. The easy fix, always focus 1 melee minion only, and usually the first one, because that is the one that usually takes the most damage first, and then go in order to hit the next one. Just keep the minion HP bars separated so that you don't have to pick and choose and end up losing CS for fun. Second, recall timers. When you lane, do you think about when you want to recall? Based on your conditions, which are HP and mana, and your gold, can you estimate around what time you want to recall? If you cannot, you might just be on autopilot, overstaying in lane until you get ganked or die. Instead, start planning recalls. If you want to recall with 700 gold to buy 2 longswords, which is a pretty decent spike, start thinking about how you want to achieve that by the time you're at 550 gold. And here are some patterns that you can use to simplify the entire planning process. Just remember that these wave states I'm about to show you, all you have to do is recognize and learn these easy patterns. You don't have to be a pro player at all. I will say that there are 2 simple patterns that you need to learn about wave states: push and hold. 1. Pushing. The main purpose for pushing is for recalling, and that requires that you have more minions. This is when your own minions are stacking on your side of the lane. This is what we call a slow push, as in your wave is slowly going to push into the enemy turrets. Really simple, right? And the reason for that is because you have more minions, so naturally your minions will kill the enemy minions faster. This is advantageous for you because it is really safe. Enemies will have to walk up to farm, and they're in danger of being ganked while you can farm safely as long as you don't let the wave crash into your tower. In this case, if you want to recall, just wait for the next wave to group up with your current minions and hard shove the wave in, and make sure to walk the wave into the enemy tower. Then you can recall safely. 2. Holding. The main purpose of holding a wave is for getting a lead, and that requires the enemies to have more minions. You can hold the wave when the enemy minions are stacking on your side of the lane. Holding is different from pushing because holding the wave generally means that you are stronger or at least in a better spot than the enemy such that you can deny them just by being in lane with them. While pushing means that you usually want to reset or hit the enemy turret, holding means that you want to deny the enemies by freezing or pushing them off the wave. When the enemies have more minions than you can hold the wave in front of your tower near the first bush and just last hit minions slowly. Because there are more enemy minions, your minions will always die faster, meaning that the enemies will lose CS faster. Conditions for holding the wave include 1. Enemies are recalled, 2. They are weaker than you, or 3. They have lower health or mana. Only one of these conditions are needed to justify holding the wave, but the more the better. And for the entire lane phase, you are basically just repeating these 2 patterns or some iteration of them over and over again. Of course, fighting will be involved and HP will always be considered when doing any of these patterns, but knowing these patterns in general will help you know what to do whenever you spot them. And the rest is just trial and error, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or concerns so far. 3. Try not to let the wave crash into your tower early game before your first recall, or you will lose a lot of CS to the tower. In their early game, most ADC champions don't have enough AD to last hit caster minions under the tower consistently. You will need your support to help you, or you will have to prep the minions yourself, which is way harder if the enemies are also in front of your tower pressuring you. So if you can, never let the wave hit your tower unless you have enough gold for 2 longswords or anything better, which is usually more than 700 gold. 4. Don't overtrade your HP, especially if your jungler is pathing away from you or if you don't believe in your jungler to help you. Overtrading your HP puts pressure on your team because they might want to help you instead of doing their own thing. And if your HP is low, you will be discouraged from trying to farm, which is losing gold and losing XP. Keeping your HP high allows you to stay in lane for a long time, which means more gold income. Only take HP trades if your jungler is pathing towards you or if it's a really good trade for you. And if you plan on trading HP with the enemies, make sure to ward the river in advance. 5. Prioritize your farm before looking at random fights that your teammates take. Only follow it if it looks good and you can get a lot from it. The main point is only go if it's good for you. If you are playing solo queue, your teammates don't matter. You can help them and get 2 assists, but if you lose 2 waves of minions, it's not worth it. And your teammates still might throw the lead. So only believe in yourself and your own improvement. Oh, and also, never buy control wards. Start learning to look at the map and just decide for yourself whether or not you need to walk into a certain place. But generally as an ADC, you want to stay in lane and never phase check on your own. And obviously there are a lot more to wave states and countless more situations depending on the game and the matchup, but all that knowledge is built upon the fundamentals that I mentioned. The best way to learn the game is to master the basics and build upon it, so hopefully everything I talked about in this video makes sense. As always, improvement isn't always instant, but learning and remembering all the information here and putting it into practice will almost certainly help you become a better player instantly. If you want more content like this, feel free to like and subscribe as it helps me out a lot. If you want to further improve, also feel free to contact me on Metafy for coaching or subscribe to my Patreon for $1.99 a month. That will include all coaching and gameplay content on request. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.